Hi everybody. I saw this on Yahoo, and this is another one of those. I saw it on Yahoo stories. I think this is absolutely hysterical. This was printed today on Yahoo's personal finance page. It's written by Stephanie Simon from the Wall Street Journal. The article's called New Mexico versus Val Kilmer, Payback Time. The article actually talks about the fact that actor Val Kilmer was talking smack about the state because he's wanting, well, what it is Val Kilmer recently applied, and I'm reading this pretty much verbatim from the article. When actor Val Kilmer recently applied for permits to turn his 6,000-acre ranch outside of Santa Fe into an upscale B&B, bed and breakfast, several of his neighbors protested. Those neighbors weren't worried about traffic, noise, or the prospect of intruding tourists. They were less than happy about comments attributed to Val Kilmer in the magazine articles dated 2003 and 2005. The locals didn't want Kilmer to get his way on the ranch unless Kilmer apologized. A neighbor named Jose Garcia says that he wants Kilmer to show up and apologize, and they said that they're not intimidated by him. Of course, Val Kilmer starred in like Tombstone, The Doors, Batman Forever. He also starred in The Saint, one of my favorites. Right along with Batman Forever, I thought he was yummy in that movie. Kilmer said that he thought that 80% of the people in the county that he lives in were drunk, requiring Kilmer to carry a gun for protection. That quirk was made in a 2003 interview with Rolling Stone. In Esquire a couple of years later, in 2005, Kilmer was quoted again, misquoted, Kilmer says, opinioning that he understands Vietnam better than his veterans because most of the veterans were borderline criminal or poor, wretched kids who landed in the military because they got beat up by their dads or couldn't finagle a scholarship. At a hearing last month on Kilmer's application, half dozen locals and vets demanded the star apologize before being allowed to welcome paying guests onto Kilmer's Pecos River Ranch. County Attorney Jesus Lopez backed them up. Mr. Kilmer's quotes were incendiary and dated as they may be created a clear and present danger threatening public safety, he said. Taken aback by the outrage, the San Miguel County Commission opted to postpone the debate on the permits. The next day, Alex Traflia, the planning and zoning director, wrote Kilmer's ranch manager to explain that, quote, your app will remain tabled until Mr. Kilmer puts in an appearance before the Board of County Commissioners to answer questions about Kilmer's alleged comments. Commissioners later clarified that they weren't demanding the star appear in person necessarily. That is beyond their legal powers, but the commissioners suggested it might help Kilmer out if he'd put in an appearance anyway. It's a situation that's pretty volatile, said David Salazar, the commission chair. The opportunity is there for him to come and set the record straight. The flap attracted the New Mexico ACLU, which offered to represent Kilmer, arguing that whether or not he'd actually talk smack about his county, Kilmer had every right to do without fear what his permits would be held hostage. Since the ACLU's interest in the case a few weeks ago, most of the key players have clammed up. Kilmer's ranch manager won't comment. The county attorney said he stood by his marks but wouldn't expound any further, and the ACLU didn't return calls or emails. The commission has called a June 23rd hearing, which, seeing that today's June 21st, first day of summer, and Monday that would be Wednesday. Officials say they expect Kilmer to be there. Kilmer, who flirted last year with a run for governor, has lived in Mexico for decades. Last year, Kilmer put his ranch up for $33 million, but it didn't bother to sell. Pecos River Ranch websites dated 2005 and 08 offers a description of the lodging daily rates and advice for tourists. Bring sunscreen and bug repellent. Kindly refrain from taking Kilmer's photo should you spot him. That suggests Mr. Kilmer has opened his lodge to paying guests in the past. The county officials say the ranch has never had the permits for it. And some protesters vow to keep up the pressure even if Kilmer does show up at up this week, 10-gallon hat in hand. An apology isn't good enough. He's insulted and hurt too many people, said Abraham Talapia, a veteran and local resident. People here just want him out of New Mexico. Well, my opinion is this. I know, well, I'm not accusing anybody in particular of talking smack, about, like, me, and I'm taking off my glasses now, I'm, going to say some stuff now, so I'm done reading. I know a few people that, talk smack about people. Val Kilmer, even, that comment kind of, it is an insult to me personally, because I know a Vietnam veteran personally, and I absolutely think the world of that person. Granted, the Vietnam veteran wasn't in Vietnam, technically. Well, I mean, I know an MP from that time period, a military police officer, and absolutely think the world of that MP. I won't say who it is, but, and it's a guy, he got drafted, and, Val Kilmer does not know everything. I mean, granted, I think Val Kilmer is good looking and stuff, but, just because you're talented and good looking and everything doesn't necessarily give you exactly, mush up here. He must, if he allegedly said this stuff, and of course I haven't seen the articles to say that he did or didn't, but according to the article I just read, it appears that he did. The guy might want to, expound on that and say, I meant X instead of Y, or it was misinterpreted, or taken out of context. Well, he'd better be willing to put his money where his mouth is and, show up what he's talking about. And I think he needs to get his head out of his rump and show up. Just because he's Mr. Big Famous, actor, doesn't make him too good to show up to make sure that his stuff gets taken care of, I mean, I know that, like, even, like, presidents of big companies are too good to show up and do their, paperwork and stuff, but seriously, I mean, people like that need to, remember that they weren't always rich and famous. They were regular schmucks like the rest of us. Seriously. But I think on this article that Val Kilmer needs to explain himself on that, and that's long story short. Well, anyway, guys, I've got some other things I want to discuss here, and I hope you guys have a good evening. Bye.